A user had a need for a fancy funnel. I've got a strategy, so let's get cracking. All right, so real quickly, if you take a look at this image, it sits on a mixer and it just bends in. Now, my first thought was to make it with Sketch, but then I remembered there are built-in Tinkercad shapes that might make this easier. Let me show them to you. We'll start at my website, HLModTech.com. I've got a page dedicated to Tinkercad. Tons of categories, day one favorites, useful starters, and the Tinkercad Essentials. Of course, there is the Tinkercad Shape Catalog. This is an awesome spreadsheet with all the shapes, but I want to use a shape generator. It highlights a boatload of shapes that have parameters that we can adjust, and it also leads me to one of my favorites, the new banana. Of course, another option would be the pineapple. Whichever one you pick is fine. Of course, I do want you to know you can come back and explore these designs anytime via the website. I will let you know you can also hit this button to download it. So now let's move to Tinkercad. You can find it at tinkercad.com. I always choose sign in with Google. We can create 3D designs, circuits, or code blocks. Today we're going to create a brand new 3D design. I like to start by naming it. This one is going to be called Mixer Funnel. We are going to use search. I want to find the one that had new and banana. When you bring this out, here's how it works. There is a curvature where you can adjust that. Notice this will now get that shape that we needed. This is the quality, but I'm going to leave it pretty low for now. And I'm actually going to work with this from this spot. Now, the user did not give me specific measurements. They did mention they'd like it to be about 6 inches. So real quickly, I'm going to bounce to Imperial, click outside, and then I'm going to take this item. So right here is 1 inch, and I'm going to shift stretch it to get it to about 6 inches. So there's 6.79 inches. And then I'm going to cut this off to make that shape we need. So I'm actually going to go a little bit larger. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Of course, you can see this is going to have that slope shape the user wanted. And if you're building one of these, you can find the exact numbers you need. So I'm going to simply bend this a few more degrees. If you stay inside, notice it's 22.5 degrees. If you come outside, you can make it custom. And now I'm going to trim it into the desired funnel shape. Simply bring out a whole cube. I'm going to stretch it past and above. I'm going to do Control D and go to the other side and find where I want to cut it as well. That looks pretty good to me. Once again, if you've actually got this mixer, you can make it more perfect. I'm going to leave these facets just like they are until I finish. So right now we're going to select all these parts and do Control G to union group. This will be our basic mixer funnel design. Now I want to make this into a funnel shape, and we're going to do that with Shift Scale. If we do Control D, it's an exact copy. If we make it a hole, and then we switch our nudge to 1/4 of an inch, that'll leave 1/8 of an inch on each side. I can do Shift Squeeze and make this smaller. I move down one chunk. Now we can select them and do L for align. And I'm going to do center. Let's make the orange one the master, and center, and center. I want to make sure it pokes out. I'm going to do that with the visibility tool. V for visibility, hide that part. Double click this part, and we simply want it to move 1 click in that direction for each of those parts. Now when we hit Finish Sketch and do Show All, it is poking out the side. Double check your alignment. That's going to be groovy. And do Control G to union group. Bang! We have just made a funnel that should work for the user. I'm going to stand it up. This is how it would be on their mixer. And then, of course, we would have to add the post to make it do what the user wanted. All right, now that we got it all built, check this out. I'm going to ungroup so that way it gets rid of that end. And then I'm going to double click on this so we're editing. Let's click on our design and take the LOD and move it to the max. Bang. It auto smooths when we click down here to finish the edit. You can see our part again. It is not perfect, but if you do Control G, it is likely good enough for what Tom is going to use it for. Friends, in wrapping up, I want to say thanks again to Tom for the question. Of course, I'm not going to print this because I don't have a mixer, but if you are going to print it, do make sure you add supports. I like to use the tree supports, but of course, you can choose whatever you want. I do also want to mention, if you find a better part for making this, say the banana or something else in the Shape catalog, please let me know about that in the comments as well. A quick thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget, there are 3 different levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Also, make sure you pay attention for those members only posts. A massive shout out as well to everybody that supports me via Patreon. We have passed 400 members. It has a fantastic messaging area where you can ask questions, gain skills, post designs. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget, every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe, you're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day and keep tinkering.